The great hall of the Galactic Empire's capital gleamed under cold, artificial lights, its vast walls lined with towering statues of past rulers and countless holographic displays of star maps, battles won, and technologies perfected. Inside this monumental chamber, the galaxy's most powerful leaders and top scientists gathered, their eyes fixed with disdain on the latest communication from a small, blue planet called Earth. The Empire had long known of Earth's existence, but only as a distant backward world hardly worth their attention. Yet Earth had dared to send a message, a transmission filled with images of crude starship designs, primitive engines, and barely functional weapons. The assembled council scoffed loudly, their voices echoing off the marble floors as they mocked the so-called prototypes from a species barely capable of interplanetary travel. The Imperial Grand Admiral, a towering figure clad in black armor etched with silver insignia, slammed his gauntleted fist against the podium and declared Earth a nuisance, a joke in the grand theater of galactic power. Nearby, other commanders laughed, their smug confidence shining through as they predicted how quickly Earth would be crushed should they ever try to defend themselves. But amid the sneers and arrogant predictions, a lone observer stood quietly at the edge of the chamber. Kara, a young Earthborn engineer attending under a rare invitation, felt a fire burning deep within her chest. She watched the contempt with tight lips and steady eyes, refusing to be broken by their scorn. The murmurs around her filled the air, but Kara focused on the thin metal bracelet around her wrist, the only piece of her prototype technology allowed inside the Empire's capital. It pulsed faintly, a reminder of the work waiting back on Earth. As the Empire's leaders dismissed her world, she thought of the nights spent in cramped labs, of designs sketched under flickering lights, and of the countless times Earth's people had looked up at the stars, dreaming of a place among the great civilizations. The mocking voices grew louder as a holographic model of Earth's so-called flagship appeared, flickering in jagged edges that betrayed its rudimentary construction. The Empire's chief scientist, a thin man with sharp eyes, tapped the model with a contemptuous finger, pointing out flaws and weaknesses with brutal certainty. He spoke of outdated propulsion methods, fragile hulls, and energy sources that would never sustain a real warship. The chamber filled with laughter again, as if the Empire's might was so unquestionable that Earth's attempt at progress was nothing more than a child's drawing beside a masterwork. Yet beneath the surface of ridicule, Kara felt a quiet determination grow. She understood that the Empire's dismissiveness was not just arrogance, it was fear disguised as mockery. They knew Earth was unpredictable, resourceful, and relentless in its drive to survive. In that moment, Kara made a silent vow to prove them wrong, to show that even the smallest spark could ignite a revolution. As the meeting ended, the Emperor's voice boomed across the chamber, decreeing that Earth would remain under watch, but never be allowed to join the ranks of the Empire's great fleets. The final words hung heavy in the air, sealing Earth's fate as a galactic outcast, or so they believed. Kara stepped out into the cold night of the capital city, the stars above shining with a promise she was determined to reach. She knew the journey ahead would be perilous and filled with doubt. But she also knew one thing. The Empire's scorn was not the end. It was the beginning of something far greater, a challenge that would test every ounce of humanity's courage and ingenuity. The galaxy had mocked Earth's prototypes, but one ship, born of hope and determination, was about to change everything. On Earth, far away from the cold halls of the Galactic Empire, a small group of engineers and scientists worked tirelessly in a hidden facility deep beneath the surface. The air was thick with the hum of machinery and the faint glow of control panels, casting a steady light on the determined faces of the team. At the center of this secret lab stood the ship they had poured their hopes into, the Vanguard, Earth's latest starship prototype. Unlike the massive warships of the Empire, the Vanguard was compact, sleek, and unlike anything anyone in the galaxy had ever seen. To the outside observer, it might look fragile, its metal hull thinner and less armored than the Empire's Titans. But inside, it held a secret that no enemy could have predicted. Kara, the lead engineer who had faced the Empire's ridicule only days before, paced near the command console, her eyes never leaving the ship's core. The energy core was not like typical reactors that burned fuel or generated power through cold mechanical means. Instead, it was designed to connect deeply with its crew, tapping into their thoughts, emotions, and willpower to create a symbiotic bond. This meant the ship could react almost like a living being, changing its shape, speed, and power output based on the crew's feelings and unity. As Kara checked the readings, the core pulsed gently in response to her calm but focused heartbeat. Around her, the team made final preparations for a test flight, each member knowing the risks involved. The Empire's eyes were already watching, waiting for Earth to fail so they could laugh once more. But Kara and her team believed they held something the Empire could never understand, the power of human spirit and connection. As the countdown began, tension filled the air. The Vanguard systems came to life with a quiet roar, lights flashing in harmony with the core's pulsing rhythm. The engineers monitored every gauge, every fluctuation, ready to intervene if needed. The ship rose smoothly from the launch bay, its engines humming with a strange energy that seemed to flow like a heartbeat. Outside, sensors detected an unusual wave of power radiating from the core, creating a subtle distortion in space around the ship. This was not something any traditional technology could explain. The crew inside felt it too, a strange sensation of unity and strength, as if the ship itself was alive and fighting alongside them. Kara's heart quickened. This test was more than a demonstration. It was a message to the Empire and the galaxy that Earth's technology was not merely machines and metal. It was something born from the very essence of its people. But just as the Vanguard reached its peak speed, alarms blared throughout the control room. A sudden surge in the core's energy threatened to overload the system. Panic flickered in the eyes of the team, but Kara stayed calm. She reached out mentally, connecting with the core as she had trained countless times before. Slowly, the dangerous spike began to fade, the energy stabilizing into a steady pulse once more. The room fell silent except for the steady hum of the core and the relieved breaths of the team. Kara knew this was only the beginning of what the Vanguard could do. As news of the test spread, spies from the Empire sent back reports filled with disbelief and fear. Earth's prototype was no longer a joke, but a threat, one that could change the balance of power. Yet, Kara kept the deepest secrets of the Vanguard hidden, knowing that the true potential of the ship and humanity would only be revealed when the time was right. And deep in the shadows of space, the Empire prepared to send a message back to Earth, a challenge that would push the Vanguard and its crew beyond anything they had ever faced. The silence of space was shattered suddenly when the sleek ships of the Galactic Empire appeared on Earth's distant radar, their enormous forms cutting across the stars like shadows of doom. The Empire's fleet had come to remind Earth of its place in the galaxy, a powerful message that no primitive world could ignore or resist. Kara stood on the bridge of the Vanguard, the prototype ship's core glowing steadily beneath her feet, her crew tense but ready. This was the moment Earth had prepared for, yet no one could say for certain what would happen next. The Empire's flagship loomed large in front of them, its weapon systems glowing ominously as it scanned the Vanguard with cold precision. The massive warships that accompanied it formed a deadly wall of metal and firepower, enough to overwhelm any known defense. Yet Kara did not falter. She ordered the ship's systems to activate their new defensive protocols, sending out pulses of energy from the core designed to disrupt enemy sensors and weapon targeting. The first blasts from the Empire's fleet fired without hesitation. Brilliant beams of destructive energy aimed to destroy Earth's lone defender quickly. But something unexpected happened. The Vanguard's core responded with a surge, creating a shimmering shield that bent the incoming fire away in strange patterns that the Empire's weapons could not track. Confusion rippled through the Imperial fleet as their attacks faltered, their sophisticated targeting systems thrown off by this unknown phenomenon. The battle was brief but intense, a dance of light and power across the void. The Vanguard moved with an almost living grace, weaving through the enemy fire while sending back controlled bursts of energy that disabled several ships in the formation. Each pulse seemed to carry the hopes and strength of Earth's people, as if their will was a weapon stronger than any cannon. The Empire's commanders were stunned, unable to believe that such a small, seemingly fragile ship could hold its own against their mightiest fleet. On the bridge, Kara's eyes blazed with determination as she pushed the ship's systems beyond their limits, feeling the core respond to her every command, every thought. The energy between the crew and their vessel was almost electric, a bond that no machine could replicate. Yet even in this moment of triumph, Kara knew the fight was far from over. The Empire would not accept defeat lightly, and the galaxy was watching. The news of the Vanguard's unexpected victory spread like wildfire, sending shockwaves through every system from the outer colonies to the Imperial throne. For the first time, the Empire's invincibility was questioned, and Earth's place in the stars was no longer a secret. As the last of the Imperial ships retreated, damaged but alive, Kara turned her gaze toward the distant horizon, knowing that the true test had only just begun. The galaxy had seen Earth's strength, but it had not yet seen the full power of what humanity could become. The Vanguard was more than a ship. It was a symbol of hope and defiance, and it was ready to change everything. The stunned silence in the Galactic Empire's war room was broken only by the steady hum of the vast supercomputers calculating endless possibilities, but none could erase the embarrassment felt by the Empire's leaders after the surprising defeat of their fleet by a single Earth ship. The Council gathered once more in the towering chamber where the walls glowed with maps of star systems and battle plans, their faces grim and voices low with concern. The Emperor himself, a figure of cold authority draped in regal robes, spoke, with a sharpness that cut through the tension. Earth had been insulted, their power underestimated, and now it was time to settle the matter properly. A formal challenge was issued, not through threats or fleet movements, but by demanding a duel between Earth's Vanguard and one of the Empire's most feared warships, the Shadowfire, a sleek and deadly vessel famed across the stars for its unmatched speed and weaponry. The message was clear. If Earth truly wished to be recognized, it had to face the Empire's best in combat, and only victory could grant respect. Back on Earth, Kara received the challenge with a mixture of resolve and quiet apprehension. The weight of her people's hopes pressed heavily on her shoulders as she prepared for a confrontation that would decide more than pride. It would shape the fate of entire worlds. Her team worked around the clock, running simulations and fortifying the Vanguard's systems, knowing that the Shadowfire was built for destruction and cunning tactics. Every detail was scrutinized, every weakness patched. But Kara understood that technology alone would not win this battle. It was their unity, their will, and the unyielding spirit of humanity that would turn the tide. The journey to the designated battleground, a remote asteroid field far from inhabited systems, was tense and silent. The Vanguard's crew felt the weight of history pressing upon them, their every move monitored by an empire eager to see Earth fail. As they approached the site, the Shadowfire appeared like a dark star, its hull shimmering with lethal energy, engines pulsing with raw power. The two ships circled each other in the void, their captains locked in a silent contest of wills as much as weapons. The Shadowfire struck first, unleashing a barrage of plasma blasts designed to cripple the Vanguard's core. But Kara's team was ready, activating the ship's energy shields and deploying countermeasures that bent the attacks away like water flowing around a stone. The Vanguard responded not with overwhelming firepower, but with precision and agility, its unique core reacting instantly to the crew's commands, weaving through the Shadowfire's attacks with grace that belied its modest size. The battle quickly became a test of endurance and strategy, with neither side willing to yield. The Shadowfire used every trick in its arsenal, cloaking maneuvers, electronic warfare, and relentless assaults, while the Vanguard relied on the strange bond between ship and crew, its systems adapting and evolving with each exchange. Kara's heart pounded as she felt the core's energy surge, responding not just to commands but to her own fierce determination. The ship seemed alive, almost sentient, pushing beyond the limits of its design to protect those who depended on it. Time blurred as the duel raged on, the silence of space broken by flashes of light and the deep hum of power. Both ships bore scars from the fight, systems warning of critical damage, yet neither surrendered. The galaxy watched in awe and disbelief, the battle a spectacle of hope against overwhelming odds. Finally, in a move born of desperation and courage, Kara ordered the Vanguard to channel the core's full power, risking overload to disrupt the Shadowfire's control systems. The plan worked. The Shadowfire faltered, its weapons offline and engines stuttering as it drifted helpless. With the enemy crippled, Kara extended an offer of surrender, a gesture both bold and diplomatic. The Shadowfire's captain, breathing heavy through comms, accepted, acknowledging Earth's strength and the need for a new era of respect. As the Vanguard powered down weapons and stabilized systems, Kara knew this was more than a victory. It was a message to the galaxy. The Empire's challenge had been met, not with brute force, but with resilience, intelligence, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity. The battle was over, but the war for the future was just beginning, and Earth was no longer a forgotten world, but a rising star among the cosmos. The vast emptiness of space became the stage for an epic confrontation as the Vanguard and the Empire's Shadowfire faced each other in a silent stare, the tension thick enough to feel across the void. Both ships were warriors in their own right, but of very different kinds. The Shadowfire was a sleek predator, built for speed and destruction, its hull gleaming with advanced alloys that shimmered under distant starlight, bristling with weapons designed to overwhelm and obliterate anything that dared challenge it. The Vanguard, smaller and less imposing at first glance, held secrets within its core, an energy so unique and powerful that it could respond to the thoughts and emotions of its crew, transforming the ship from mere metal into a living extension of human will. As the duel began, the Shadowfire wasted no time, launching a ferocious barrage of plasma bolts and missile volleys intended to cripple the Vanguard swiftly and decisively. But Kara, commanding from the heart of the Vanguard, remained calm and focused, her mind linked to the ship's core, sensing every shift in energy, every fluctuation of power. The Vanguard moved with uncanny grace, dodging and weaving through the deadly storm, its energy shields flaring to life and absorbing the enemy's relentless attacks. The ship's unusual design allowed it to shift its shape subtly, reducing its profile and confusing the Shadowfire's targeting systems. The battle quickly became a dance of light and energy, two titans locked in a struggle where speed, power, and will clashed in equal measure. The Shadowfire used its advanced cloaking technology to vanish from sensors, striking from the shadows with sudden bursts of fire, but the Vanguard's core pulsed in response, heightening the crew's senses and allowing them to anticipate attacks just before they happened. Each hit from the Vanguard sent shockwaves through the Shadowfire's hull, the energy blasts guided by Kara's sharp instincts and the ship's living core. The Empire's warship retaliated with ruthless efficiency, deploying drone swarms and electronic jamming devices designed to break the bond between the Vanguard and its crew. But the humans held firm, their connection growing stronger in the face of adversity, the core drawing power not just from technology, but from the shared determination and courage of those aboard. As the battle raged, the Vanguard began to tap into a deeper reserve of energy, the core glowing brighter and responding to the collective emotions of the crew. Hope, fear, and unwavering resolve merging into a force that pushed the ship beyond its known limits. The Shadowfire, overwhelmed by the unpredictability and strength of its opponent, began to falter. Its weapon systems overheated, engines sputtered, and communication arrays sparked under the pressure of the Vanguard's relentless assault. The Empire's champions, confident at first, now faced a reality they had not anticipated. Earth's prototype was not just a machine but a symbol of human spirit, a reminder that strength came in many forms. Kara seized the moment, ordering the Vanguard to unleash a concentrated burst of energy directly at the Shadowfire's core. The blast struck true, sending the Empire's ship spinning out of control, systems failing one by one. In the aftermath of the clash, silence returned to the void, broken only by the heavy breaths of the Vanguard's crew and the distant hum of the crippled Shadowfire. Kara looked out at the wreckage floating against the stars, knowing that this victory was not just about survival, but about proving that humanity, though underestimated, could stand tall among the galaxy's greatest. The clash of titans had ended, but the ripples of their battle would echo across the cosmos, inspiring those who believed that even the smallest spark could ignite a revolution. After the fierce battle between the Vanguard and the Shadowfire, the crew aboard Kara's ship knew that their victory was only the start of a much larger struggle. But beyond the battles and tactics, a deeper mystery had begun to surface, one that could change everything they thought they knew about the Galactic Empire and their own place in the universe. In the quiet moments following the conflict, Kara and her closest advisors gathered in the ship's command center, eyes scanning the encrypted data they had salvaged from the crippled Shadowfire. The information was vast and complex, containing secret Imperial communications, research logs, and fragments of ancient history long hidden from the public. As they decrypted the files, a chilling truth emerged. The Empire's power was built not just on advanced technology or military might, but on the suppression of knowledge about an ancient force buried deep within the galaxy. Something the Empire feared above all else. The files spoke of an energy source, older than any civilization known, capable of granting unimaginable power to those who could harness it. This force was said to be tied to the very fabric of space and time, a secret the Empire had guarded jealously for millennia. Kara's mind raced as she pieced together the clues. The Vanguard's core, unlike anything in the Empire's fleet, seemed connected to this ancient energy in ways she had not fully understood until now. It was more than a machine. It was a key built by Earth's ancestors who had once tapped into this power but had lost the knowledge over time. The revelation sent a wave of hope through the crew, but also a shadow of fear. If the Empire discovered that the Vanguard was linked to this force, they would stop at nothing to capture or destroy the ship. The stakes had grown far beyond simple battles for territory or pride. The galaxy itself was at risk of being reshaped by whoever controlled this energy. Kara ordered the ship's sensors to scan for signs of this ancient power as they traveled through the star systems. Each reading brought them closer to something hidden, a place that could unlock the secrets of the past and the future. Yet, the closer they got, the more danger they faced. Imperial agents, desperate to reclaim their lost advantage, pursued the Vanguard relentlessly, sending fleets and spies to track their every move. The tension aboard the ship was constant, the crew working in shifts to maintain vigilance while processing the heavy truths uncovered. In the midst of the pursuit, Kara found herself reflecting on the message the Empire had sent. Their challenge had been a test, but now it was clear that the true battle was for the control of this ancient power, for the future of the galaxy. She knew that to protect Earth and all who depended on them, they had to unlock the full potential of the Vanguard's core. And so, guided by the knowledge in the decrypted files and the courage of her crew, Kara set a new course toward a forgotten world, a place whispered about in legends, where the secrets of the ancient force awaited. The journey was long and perilous, filled with encounters that tested their resolve and the ship's unique abilities, but every step brought them closer to unveiling the truth, a truth that would either save their civilization or plunge the galaxy into chaos. As the Vanguard approached the shadowed planet, a sense of awe filled the bridge. The stars seemed to dim as if in respect or warning. Kara knew the Empire's eyes were still watching, but here, in the quiet darkness, the real story of humanity's place in the cosmos was about to be written. The ancient force, the hidden power, and the fate of countless worlds hung in the balance. And the Vanguard was at the heart of it all. The Vanguard drifted slowly into the thick shadow of the ancient planet, its hull shimmering faintly under the pale light of distant stars, while inside the ship, Kara and her crew felt the weight of what lay ahead pressing on their minds and hearts. The decrypted Imperial data had led them here, to a forgotten world, cloaked in mystery and silence, a place where the ancient force the Empire feared was said to reside. As they orbited the planet, sensors detected strange energy readings pulsing from deep beneath the surface, patterns that matched the core's signature in ways no one had predicted. Kara's fingers danced over the controls, the connection between her and the Vanguard's living core stronger than ever. The ship responded to her emotions, calm when she was steady, sharp and fast when her mind raced with ideas and strategies. But the peace was fragile, for the Empire had not given up. Through space and time, their warships closed. In relentlessly, their intentions clear: capture the vanguard, seize the ancient power, and crush the human spirit that had dared to rise. With the countdown to confrontation ticking closer, Kara made a bold decision. She would not wait for the Empire to strike first. Instead, she planned a risky descent to the planet's surface, seeking the source of the mysterious energy in hopes of uncovering a power that could turn the tide once and for all. The crew prepared the ship's landing systems, nerves taut with anticipation and fear. The planet's atmosphere was thick and turbulent, storms swirling in patterns that seemed almost alive, making the descent a dangerous gamble. The Vanguard shuddered as it pierced the clouds, light flashing across its hull as the energy core pulsed in sync with Kara's heartbeat. Below them lay ruins, ancient structures half buried in the planet's soil, relics of a civilization lost to time, but echoing with the presence of the force they sought. As the Vanguard touched down, Kara led an expedition team into the labyrinth of stone and metal, each step stirring dust and memories from a forgotten past. The air was thick with tension as they moved deeper into the ruins, ancient symbols glowing faintly on the walls, resonating with the Vanguard's core. Suddenly, a presence made itself known, not hostile, but watchful, as if the planet itself was alive and aware of their intrusion. The connection Kara felt was overwhelming, a pull that drew her closer to a hidden chamber glowing with energy unlike anything she had seen. Inside, an ancient device hummed with power, seemingly dormant, yet ready to awaken. Kara reached out, her hand trembling, as the Vanguard's core began to resonate in harmony with the chamber. The energy surged through her, visions flashing before her eyes, of civilizations rising and falling, of the balance between creation and destruction, and of a choice that would shape the future. Meanwhile, outside, the Empire's fleet had arrived, their ships blocking the planet's orbit and preparing to strike. But as the Vanguard's core and the ancient device connected, a wave of energy rippled across the planet and into space, disrupting the Empire's systems and leaving their ships vulnerable. The tide had turned. The Vanguard, no longer just a prototype, had become a beacon of hope and power. Kara's mind raced with new possibilities, knowing that this moment was the turning point, the chance to not just defend Earth, but to awaken. A force that could reshape the galaxy and challenge the Empire's reign. Yet with great power came great risk. The connection demanded sacrifice, focus, and courage beyond anything Kara or her crew had faced before. The choice was clear: embrace the unknown power and fight for a future where humanity stood strong, or retreat and risk losing everything to the Empire's cold grip. As the first battle cries echoed from the fleet above, Kara's resolve hardened. The turning point had come, and with it, the dawn of a new era in the stars. The Vanguard emerged from the shadow of the ancient planet, its hull glowing softly with the energy harvested from the forgotten device, a power that now coursed through every system on the ship, weaving a new strength into its core. Kara stood on the bridge, her eyes steady as the stars stretched before her, knowing the galaxy awaited what would come next, for the Empire had been shaken to its very foundation by the revelation that Earth's people were no longer just primitive subjects, but holders of a force that could challenge the old order. The warships of the Empire, once confident and unyielding, now faltered in their advance, their systems disrupted and their crews shaken by the wave of energy that had reset the battlefield, turning their weapons and shields into unstable, flickering barriers, forcing commanders to rethink their strategies as the very technology they relied upon betrayed them. Across star systems, word spread like wildfire, inspiring oppressed colonies and hidden rebellions, sparking hope that the mighty Empire could be challenged and changed. And as fleets began to regroup and allies emerged, Kara understood that the fight for the galaxy's future was no longer just a war, but a movement, a new order rising from the ashes of the old. With the power of the ancient force integrated into the Vanguard, humanity had at its fingertips an unprecedented advantage. But Kara knew that power alone would not build a future. Diplomacy, alliances, and trust, would be needed to weave a galactic community where freedom and cooperation replaced fear and control. Yet, the Empire's leadership refused to yield easily, dispatching their most feared commanders and elite forces to crush Earth's defiance, resulting in fierce battles that tested the limits of the Vanguard's energy and the crew's resolve, pushing them to innovate and adapt with every encounter. Each victory was hard-won, the cost measured not just in damaged ships, but in the lives of brave souls who believed in the cause. Through it all, Kara remained a symbol, a leader who embodied humanity's resilience and hope, whose decisions carried the weight of countless dreams. As new alliances formed, strange and powerful beings from distant corners of the galaxy came forward, drawn by the shift in power and the promise of change, offering knowledge, technology, and support to a cause that transcended old rivalries. The Vanguard became more than a ship. It became a symbol of unity, a moving beacon of light in the darkness, guiding disparate factions toward a future where no one would be mocked or underestimated again. The Empire, once thought invincible, found itself on the defensive, forced to confront not just a military threat, but a revolution in thought and spirit, one that challenged the very foundations of its rule. In the decisive moments of this struggle, Kara led a daring assault on the Imperial capital, a complex operation combining raw power, cunning strategy, and the strength of unexpected allies, aimed not at destruction, but at dismantling the corrupt leadership that had enslaved so many. The battle was fierce, the stakes higher than ever, but when the dust settled, a new council was formed, representatives from Earth, the freed colonies, and other species committed to peace and cooperation. This council vowed to uphold justice, fairness, and the right of every world to choose its own path. As the first dawn of this new galactic order rose, Kara stood on the Vanguard's bridge, the ancient power still humming within the ship, a reminder of what had been won and what must be protected. She felt the hope of millions and the weight of responsibility, knowing that peace would require constant vigilance and courage, but confident that the future was theirs to shape. The galaxy was no longer ruled by fear or mockery, but united by respect and shared destiny, a future born from the courage of one planet's fight to be seen and heard, a new chapter in the stars written by those who refused to be forgotten.